Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's go right into it. This is our No Surrender themed TNA review for the week and we'll go right in. As you know, it's after the Battle for Glory series. They got the final four. AJ got to pick his match, thus leaving the other two for another match. So we'll start off with those two matches right off the bat. Austin Aries versus AJ Styles. What can we say, folks? I mean, on paper, it sounds great. On the TV, it was even better. What a match. I don't want to take away from the final match, but wow, this was an amazing match to start off the show. Two of the absolute best talents that TNA has. Kudos. I mean, starting off hot, really good. Oh my God, how awesome was this, guys? I thoroughly enjoyed this. Way to start the show. AJ Styles picks up the win, as foreseen by almost everybody. But wow, what an opener! I'm still excited about it, and this is almost 2 days later. Next up, we have the second match, which is also the second part of this: Bobby Roode versus Magnus. Another really good match. Not quite as good as the first one, but I mean, when you have one of the best TV matches of the year, it's kind of hard to follow that. Roode and Magnus, awesome as well, though. Another 4-star match. I mean, coming off right off the bat, Magnus picks up the win. Wow, they start off hot. Two good, really good matches. This is where TNA can be different than the WWE. TNA could give us long, exciting matches. They've got the talent. They've got plenty of talent. These four guys are four of the best wrestlers in the world, and all four of them showed right here. I'm super stoked about the way these two matches went down. Very happy about it. Very excited in the product that they put out on Thursday night. Speaking of that, we're gonna go so I can calm myself down a bit, I guess, because of my excitement factor. To our question of the week. What did you guys think about AJ Styles winning the Battle for Glory series? Now, before I get into my opinion, I have an opinion from one of our friends. It's Metal Ruler 45. AJ hasn't been TNA champion for a long time. Magnus has improved, but he still isn't there yet. With Bully as champion, you need the other guy like AJ that can do all these exciting moves. Because let's be really real, Bully isn't very exciting in the ring when it's a non-gimmick match. Hopefully AJ wins the BFG series and beats Bully at BFG. That would be great in his opinion. I agree. Going into it, and you guys, if you watch back, I always thought they were building it to let Magnus win. But then I really started thinking about it. This is to sell one of the few pay-per-views they have, so you need a star of AJ Styles' magnitude. Also, something I mentioned to a friend of mine, Bunkhouse Bob Delph on Twitter, Bob at Bob_Delph, a great guy. I mentioned I thought that they were going to throw this at AJ as a way to try and keep him, but even with that, I'm thinking they did it more for the name factor to help sell pay-per-views. A guy that stopped watching TNA maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, sees AJ Styles in the main event, he might buy the pay-per-view. Might not. But it sells more than Magnus, not that Magnus isn't a great wrestler. And I think the sky's the limit for that kid. And his time will be soon. Now, we're going to go into a pretty simple question of the week for this week. Very simple. You're watching this because you watch TNA, or at least you have some interest in what I do. If that's the case, then I appreciate you looking. But if you're watching this because you're a TNA fan, which I hope most of you are, or at least a TNA watcher, the question of the week is, how long have you been watching TNA? A year, 2 years, 10 years since it started? Let us know what you think. Let us know when you started watching us. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, put it down where? Down in the comments. And we'll talk about that next week and how long we've been watching, along with some of you guys answer as you see from the Metal Ruler 45. Anything you answer, we'll say on here. So Let us know what you think, and we'll talk about it. Next, I thought this was kind of a strange placing. They had the world title match of Mr. Anderson versus Bully Ray. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the show, Bully Ray tried convincing us that Anderson wasn't going to go for the title. Anderson pretty much said, yeah, I am. So that leads to this. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that segment. Hulk Hogan, for some unknown reason, makes a last man standing match. Anderson and Bully Ray have a really good hardcore style match. Aces and Eights comes down. There were a couple kind of hints at a swerve. The Aces and Eights attacked Mr. Anderson when it looked like they may possibly attack Bully Ray. There were a couple times where Anderson should have went down and stayed down but didn't. Eventually, Bully Ray overpowers him with him and his friends. After the match, he's getting carted out. Bully Ray takes him off the stretcher, pile drives him on the stage. I've read that Mr. Anderson's TNA contract is up, and this could be a way to write him off TV, at least while they're working on a new contract, or write him off permanently. I think it'd really be a shame, because I have a feeling that the last couple weeks, the fans and the crowd are really getting behind what they did with Mr. Anderson, breaking away from Aces and Eights. They could have went somewhere with that. Now, if they sign him to a contract and he comes back next month, they could still go somewhere with that. But if he's gone altogether, I think they killed a little bit of momentum they could have used. Hopefully we see Anderson come back. I thoroughly enjoyed this match again. 3 for 3 they're hitting it tonight so far in the matches. I'm loving it. Then next we have a segment. We have James Storm and Gunner. We'll leave my personal opinion about Gunner out of this. Not really a fan of what he said about $5 wrestling. To paraphrase it, not so much. And I guess I ain't leaving my own opinion out. He said $5 wrestling is an embarrassment to the sport, or something of that ilk. A lot of people really like $5 wrestling, me included. It's a fun little show. No one has the delusion that $5 wrestling is great wrestling. It's the exact opposite. It's supposed to be bad. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater 3000 for all of you people that like that show. So I don't know. I just felt it's kind of a messed up situation for Gunner to mention that and dislike them. It kind of put a bad feeling in my heart about Gunner, because you're talking about guys, a lot of those guys that are only going to get booked on $5 wrestling. Or if they get booked anywhere else, it's because of what they do on $5 wrestling. It opens opportunities. Any job in a business where indie shows and indie promotions fly by night and wrestlers struggle to make money, a good indie promotion like $5 wrestling, where you're getting good, wholesome family shows that are funny, that are fun, it's good for the business. But anyway, back to what I was saying about Gunner and James Storm. They came out talking about Storm wants to drink, Gunner wants to fight. Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez come out, challenge them for the titles. Sets up for a match next week where if Chavo and Hernandez win, they get a title shot at Bound for Glory versus Storm and Gunner. My money's on Chavo and Hernandez winning, and that being the match. But, nice little segment to break up the action we had. Now we're coming into our main event for the night. AJ Styles versus Magnus. Another really solid match. The thing I thoroughly enjoyed is when Ego came out, Bobby Roode, Kazarian, and Christopher Daniels, and tried to attack them both so no one could win, as they said in the previous interview. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was also cool that the ref didn't stop the match. He just let it keep going after they got them out of there. Pretty cool. AJ ends up getting the win. AJ Styles is going to challenge Bully Ray at Bound for Glory. Altogether, I thought this was an excellent show. One of the better TNA shows of the year, if not the best. And that's including the pay-per-views. every match on the show I thoroughly enjoyed. The interactions, the Storm and Gunner with Chavo and Hernandez, the backstage segment with Hogan and Manic, the Ego in the back talking about screwing over the Bound for Glory series, all really good. And then the little thing with ODB, all really good. I mean, this was a very solid, this was what TNA could be at its best. And this is what we hope TNA is going forward. Now, we're going to go into a little bit a thing we do on every show. It's the Hulk Hogan / Thunder Lips / Suburban Commando count for the week. And we're at 2. 2 Hulk Hogans. Not a bad count. I've always said I'm okay with 1 or 2. It's about what a GM should do. But it is what it is. And we'll go right into it. Our ratings for the week. Now, if you watch the show, we have a 1 to 5 scale. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. 1's a Jesse Goddard, 2's a Garrett Bischoff, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Bobby Roode. I'm giving this a 5. 5, sucker. Bobby Roode all the way. This show was absolutely amazing. This is what TNA could be when it's at its best. I am so thoroughly excited about it. I cannot wait till next week's show because I'm so excited from this show. And that's how they should do it. That's how it should always be. Loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you guys did as well. But basically, that's all I have to say. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.